Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, we're going to a series that is definitely retro themed, but the game itself, not so much. We're talking about Pokemon Legends Arceus, and it's only fitting that this game is our first ever review on Retro Rebound. Pokemon's received a lot of attention here, for better and for worse. In one instance, we talked about recently, which will be linked in the description and pinned in a comment down below, how transformative I felt Pokemon Stadium was as a video game. Going from the 8-bit pixel art of Pokemon Blue to the 3D animations and the sound design of Pokemon Stadium was nothing short of purely transformative and defined Pokemon for me, marking it as one of my favorite, if not my personal favorite entry in the entire series across all its spin-offs and mainline entries. However, we also highlighted in our one and only critical piece here on Retro Rebound how Pokemon desperately needed to change. It needed to start experimenting like it did in the early 2000s, where we saw Mystery Dungeon, Conquest, we saw some changes occasionally in the mainline series, and eventually it became so absurdly stagnant. However, there was one caveat in that discussion, which was that it could age poorly with Legends Arceus impending. Now it's out, so the question is, did my opinion become outdated very quickly? We're going to answer that in today's video, so welcome one, welcome all. Typically, we talk about old games here, but we will fit in reviews for these games when I feel that they do make sense. So consider subscribing, provide some feedback on what you'd like to see for future reviews, and now, let's talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus. I have been super critical of this series for a while, to the point of almost disliking it now. I picked up Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond in a hopes that nostalgia would grab me and carry me through a 30+ hour experience. It absolutely did not. I dropped it in 2 hours. So if you are here looking for someone who has almost no strings attached to this series anymore, you're in the right place. Pokemon Legends Arceus, I like it a lot. I really do. And it's like I could choke someone because of how obvious I feel this was to do for this series. Because while I wanted the dramatic, crazy shakeup for the series, it's amazing that it manages to hold on to all of its core pillars in the gameplay loop and still feel fresh. What do I mean by that? You're still going to be, like in every single other Pokemon game, walking around, catching Pokemon, battling Pokemon, and sometimes battling trainers. That is still a lot of the major pillars in the gameplay loop here. But it's amazing how the different types of interactions on how you can approach said gameplay loop makes it so much more refreshing. And as Pokemon feeling reborn again, where what we are looking at here is a potential template for future Pokemon games that we could see really getting evolved upon. Pardon the pun. What do I mean by that? Let's start off with the story a little bit. Of course, no spoilers here. What I adore about this story is right off the bat, I went, thank you, because you start the game and it's not this kid in the town, mom, I'm 10 and I'm leaving home, give me my running shoes, my Pokeballs, and give me some potions with my starter Pokemon. Let's do this thing. I'm out. No, not that anymore. After a decade plus of that happening over and over and over, spanning now 2 decades, it's finally different. You come out of this rift in the sky, seemingly from a different point in a time period, and people see you and they're scared of you. They're scared of Pokemon. It's so different from what you typically see in these games where everyone's like, we live in cohesion with our Pokemon brethren. Not in this game. They're scared of them. They don't know if they want to kill them. They don't know if they want to live in harmony with them. And now you've appeared out of nowhere from the sky and they're like, we don't know who you are. And if you want to stay here, you got to earn your keep. If you want to sleep here, eat here, earn your keep. Prove your worthiness. There's an immediate almost grit to the writing that was so refreshing, so beyond refreshing, where I found myself, as the story developed, for the first time ever in my life, actually coming up with theories for the Pokemon story, going, wait, is this what's happening? The connection to Diamond and Pearl is, what's happening here? Why is there a Diamond and Pearl clip? Oh, and there's a rift in the sky. Oh, I found myself drumming up theories very quickly. This was a great sign. I like that, because the last Pokemon story I could find myself invested in was probably Sun and Moon. I love those games, right? That was the last mainline Pokemon game I truly enjoyed. But this one, because of how immediately different it is, has a little bit more of a starting push, where it took me a while to warm up to Sun and Moon. Legends Arceus grabbed me right away. I don't think the story is going to be for everyone. And if you're like me and you have nostalgia for the series and you were just hoping for change, it is here. But comparing Pokemon Legends Arceus to a lot of other games out there is where I think things start to dwindle and it becomes an awkward recommendation. One with a caveat. Again, it's like if you're a Pokemon fan, this is a no-brainer. But if you're, say, one of my friends who I have that has never played Pokemon before and has played the likes of Persona 5 Royal, they've played open worlds like Breath of the Wild, they've seen all these game changers across these genres, and they see people going, oh my God, this is amazing, and they look at the simple turn-based combat, the horrible visuals, the kind of empty open world, they're like, what's the big deal here? That's the thing. I don't think it really is a crazy big deal when you compare it to other games. And we're still talking about Pokemon, which is the #1 grossing IP. It does still need work. So there is that frustration there because you can't just blanket recommend it yet. But if you are a Pokemon fan, there's a lot to love here. Really where I think this game's core strengths lie in is its gameplay. I love this loop so much more than previous entries because of the way you can approach things. So normally it's fight the Pokemon, catch them, your Pokedex entry is filled, right? That's how it always goes. Now in Legends Arceus, you explore these open world biomes that have different time periods. So it'll be morning, day, night, and different Pokemon come out at different times of the day and different weather patterns. So you get to study them in their habitat and you start to see the gradual nods. The way they're animated reminded me of Pokemon Stadium. The way that you could see them in their habitat reminded me of Pokemon Snap. Again, this is what I've been begging and pleading for, is pull from all these series. The way the game starts off really reminded me of Mystery Dungeon. There's inspiration oozing everywhere from all different entries of the game. But again, you start to go into these open world areas, and when you fill out your Pokédex, it's not just catching them, it's about completing tasks. So sometimes it's just defeating them. Sometimes it's defeating them with a move that they're weak to. Sometimes it's feeding them. Sometimes it is just simply catching them. Sometimes it's catching them during the day, during night. And you don't have to fill out all of these. You just have to fill out some of them until 10 entries are complete. And then the Pokédex entry is complete. It's so much more better because now I find myself where I usually went, I'm not catching any of these Pokemon. These random encounters are such a pain in the butt, to catching the same one 10 times because I'm like, I need to fill out this Pokédex entry. There's like this OCD level obsession I have with filling out these entries. And what happens is, typically, because you wouldn't see the Pokemon in the overworld until much later entries, you would have them appearing these random encounters, and it didn't feel like they were truly living in areas. Where now, I'm able to track their biomes and where they are and when they arrive, and say like, okay, Pichu came out in the evening here in the Obsidian Fieldlands. I'm going to go out in this area where I found them again and wait. And you'll see them appear out of nowhere. And it's like, oh my God, like they're actually these living, breathing creatures with cycles. So refreshing. What really helps, I think, aid this series is not only the open world space where there's stealth mechanics as you crawl through the grass and you have to stay undetected from some Pokemon if you want to have the advantage of catching them, but crafting. Crafting is a major component to all of this, something we've seen in a lot of games before, but very new to Pokemon. So while you're exploring the open world, you're going to be finding plants, different types of rocks, mud, what have you, and you're going to be combining them into all these new recipes that you'll unlock as you complete side quests, as you complete the main story, and this allows you to stay in the open world a little bit longer. What I would say is, if you were to make the comparison to any game, I really wouldn't say Breath of the Wild. I'd say Monster Hunter. The way that you drop into these zones that are semi-open world and they have their own distinct biomes and patterns that you can memorize and then do these runs and go back to Jubilife Village. I mean, it just, to me, is so reminiscent of Monster Hunter more than Breath of the Wild. I mean, of course, when you look at the cover art, you can see that, my God, do they love Breath of the Wild there. But I think gameplay-wise, they pulled way, 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 way more from Monster Hunter on an inspiration level. And the visuals are the only place that Zelda really plays a factor, and it comes up short there. The visuals in Legends Arceus, I thought they were fine when I was playing in handheld mode, where I had these two Hori controllers docked on the side. They're these Pro controller things, and they are so much more comfortable, but they're also Mega Man themed. But anyway, when I was playing in handheld, I went, well, this ain't too bad. I actually don't think this game's that ugly. Then I docked it for gameplay for this video, and I saw a tree, and I went, oh my god. Oh my god. This is the highest grossing IP. But look, I'm in a position where I feel like beggars can't be choosers. I have been begging Pokemon to do so many things in this series for so long that you see in this entry that if the game's ugly, I can live with it. I can live with the game being ugly. Because sometimes I actually think the simplistic nature helps it, because based off where it is in the Pokemon timeline, which is very far back in the past, I found myself thinking like, this should be kind of blanket, simple, not too flashy, but it should be sharpened up a bit. It does not look good. But then again, it runs at above 30 FPS when you dock it. So if they were going for frame rate above quality, I can respect that. That was a creative choice by them. I can respect that, because it's very rare that you see a Switch game running above a standard 30 FPS. So again, respect to them for actually making this a thing. But visuals aside, it's the molding of a refreshing story loop and a gameplay loop that is very much familiar, but has been reinvented by all these new mechanics. So there are things that you're going to encounter in the open world, like space-time distortions, where I found an Umbreon and I actually screeched. I saw a Scyther at one point and I screamed. That's what this game's open world structure does. The walking through the forest and seeing, oh my god, it's this Pokemon. I can't believe it's here. Oh my god. And you like scramble to a bush and you're like, okay, calm down. What do I want to do? Do I attack it and weaken it? This is really powerful. Do I use a great ball? Do I use a heavy ball and try to catch it while it's not looking? The intermittent choices while you're doing things helps this game series so much, where then you mix those two together, the narrative and the story, and you've got something that's pretty fun. Now on the side quest front, I gotta be honest, this is going to be hit or miss for a lot of people. I like it because I'm really enjoying the gameplay loop. So a lot of people are asking you, craft this, complete this Pokedex entry, bring me this type of Pokemon, bring me a heavy one, bring me a male or female one. And yeah, it really, really dips strongly into those core gameplay loops instead of having you do different things. I like it, but I could see for some it getting repetitive. For me, it encourages exploration, and it has me learning more about the game. Like, I didn't realize that when I captured a male hippopotamus and a female hippopotamus, that they actually look different. Their color patterns were completely changed. Also, some people are looking for heavier Pokemon, taller Pokemon. And so when you catch them, you can check their weight, their height, and say like, okay, this is a big one. And their stats will reflect that. And these are things that have been in the series before, but now they're putting a bigger focus on it because they have side quests tied to it. So to me, someone who's not obsessed with like, I got the shinies. Okay, I don't care about those. Now I'm all aboard that train. So it's a huge difference maker. But also there's this dynamic feeling to the gameplay. And it's because battles don't have this fade in and out screen. It's right there in this open world area, battle happens. And that's the other transformation that I just thank you again. It's not Persona 5 levels. Persona 5, in my opinion, is one of the best turn-based RPGs of all time, if not the best on a combat level. I love Persona 5. So it's not touching there, but with the agile style and the strong style, man, does it make a difference. Why is that? Because with agile style, you'll sacrifice damage for speed. You'll be able to go before your enemy, but you're not going to do as much damage. But if you're like low on health and you need to get that last attack in, agile style will let you do that. Strong style is like, I need to hit this guy's head off. So you sacrifice yourself in the turn order to hit really hard with one attack. So if you're going to go in with a super effective strong style attack, you might be able to wipe out someone in one hit that previously you wouldn't. What this allows is for a focus on a turn order in Pokemon that you can actually bring up and look at. And the reason this is so important is because, I don't know if y'all are like me, whenever I got, say, Baby Doll Eyes where you could lower the opponent's offense, I'm like, I don't care, just give me the next attack move, because I can't even see what these things are doing. But now, because of the turn order, I can see, okay, I can lower their offense and then get a quick attack in because my speed is really high on Sphinx, for example. It just adds an element of strategy that I've been looking for so long. And there's little things that you just forget that happen in Pokemon battles because they don't have UI indicators. Now they do. Now when someone's attack is buffed, they have a sword with an up arrow. When someone's defense is buffed, same thing with a shield. Like, I know it's so simple, and that's why it makes it so difficult to fully recommend, because it's just honestly catching up with the times, but it's needed to for so long, and now that it has, it's so much better. Let's talk about music. Because this game clearly pulls from a lot of what Diamond and Pearl is, the music in those games are great, and like the Jubilife Village theme, oh my word, it's so good. There's so many tracks that are great, but what I love more is that this game understands the power of silence. It understands that being quiet is sometimes good. So when you're in the open world and you're exploring, hearing the distinct cry of a Geodude and being like, wait, he's over there, and running and seeing Geodudes right there, it's like, again, it brings it to life. Remember what I said about Pokemon Stadium? Again, if you haven't seen that video, linked below, pinned in the comments. Pokemon Stadium hit so well for me because it was Pokemon to life. Not like Pokemon Go, but really making these creatures lifelike. And I guess Pokemon Snap does that. You get to see them doing their own thing, but it's on rails. And to me, that was so boring. It's like, take those mechanics and those ideas and put them in the mainline series. I would love that. And I feel like they actually did it here. We also need to talk about progression outside of the Pokédex. There's so many new angles to this game. Like, I can't believe I have this much to say. But now what happens is, as you complete these runs in these open world areas, you'll go to the professor and they'll mark all the things you did, like how many you caught, how many new species you caught, because they're trying to learn about them. And you're a part of this galaxy team, right? And so you go to the galaxy team and you rank up. And instead of getting gym badges that'll give you the ability to have Pokemon, say, level 30 and below obey you, and the ability to craft great balls, like, now it's through this survey system. So it encourages you to keep catching, keep exploring, and just, hey, hats off, Game Freak. Like, this is what we've been looking for. And it's no surprise to me that the director who worked on this game, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon director, makes complete sense to me, because to me, out of every mainline Pokemon entry, that was the last one I felt to truly try some new things with the trials. It just felt refreshing. This, though, is a breath of true fresh air. Maybe not of the wild, but of fresh air. It's not perfect. It's really, honestly, catching up with the times. But as someone who's been a long-time fan of the series and has fallen out of love with it because of how stagnant things were, I feel like finally they listened to me. And while there's still things that they need to adjust and continue to improve upon, this is more than worthy of a template to believe in for the future. It really is. Yes, the world's a little empty. I'm not going to make excuses for them at all. You already know, again, I'm super critical of Pokemon. Yeah, it's pretty empty. I do wish that there was more things to interact with while I'm walking around, but for me, there is a true joy in the surprise of finding a Pokemon and deciding what to do with it. And with that loop repeating over and over, it never got old. Never. So, I do recommend Pokemon Legends Arceus if you are a fan of the series. If you are not, I'm going to say wait for a small sale. Again, this game's ugly, and while the Pokemon loop works for fans who know what to expect, it does feed off that. If you already are kind of confused, like, what's the big deal here? I don't think this is going to change the game for you too much. I think that it still relies on a lot of those core mechanics. So what I'm saying is, wait for a sale of like 40 bucks, 45 bucks, because then I think it's a safer purchase where you could probably get away with being a new person coming in and saying, I'll spend 60 on this, see what we got here. I think that's fine, because you might end up really enjoying it. But if you kind of want that guaranteed safe purchase, like the $45, $40 range is good. And if you have a Walmart near you, they sell the new games for 50 bucks. So honestly, like, if you could get it for that price and the $5 to $10 difference isn't much for you, you could get it right now. But this is a game that I'm just thankful has panned out really well. So shout out to Game Freak, because they finally did it after all these years. So those are my thoughts on Pokemon Legends Arceus, our first review here on Retro Rebound. What do you think of the game if you've been playing it? Fire away down below. I can't wait to see your thoughts. But until next time, take great care of yourselves, and peace out.